Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hey, Freaky friends! It's Michelle and Melissa from the Freaky Fridays podcast. We are sisters in separate states and love to talk about all kinds of spooky, freaky, and scary shit while drinking and laughing through our fear.
Join us Fridays as we delve into everything from the world of the paranormal to scary movies to creepy stuff we find around the internet. Subscribe to Freaky Fridays wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Sleep tight.
Make sure you leave the lights on.
Freaky Fridays is a proud member of the Podmoth Network. For more awesome pods, check out podmoth.network.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Identity Podcast on the Podmoth Media Network, your foray into the weird, wonky, and sometimes downright spooky. I'm your host, Janine Mercer, and today I am very lucky to be joined by the Wicked Wiccan Sisters, Nicole and Stacy. Hello, ladies. Welcome.
Hello.
It's lovely to have you.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let's kind of jump right in here. Can you kind of tell the listeners a little bit about kind of how you got here, what introduced you to the field of paranormal investigation, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. I like to always say we started out doing it, we've been doing it our whole life, and we just now realized it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, we just started like opening up more to maybe our own gifts.
Yeah.
And being, more accepting of it and
letting, people know that we're coming out of the broom closet, honestly. Because, we live in a small area and not everybody kind of really likes, and also we're not wicked. That's just a really catchy name and I loved it and it's caught on, but we always say we're mostly love and light, but we've been doing it our whole life. We just figured that out when we did a podcast last week. We're like, she goes, I never thought about that. She said, we've been doing this our whole life.
We were little. Our parents always took us to graveyards. Spring Mill was a big, we went there all the time and camped, and our mom always took us to the graveyard to go ghost hunting and tell ghost stories. And our dad would, play tricks on us, and they thought it was hilarious. But we are real sisters, and our entire lives have always done freaky, weird stuff that is normal to us.
Yeah.
Right.
And that we can kind of hear, see, and feel things.
Sure.
We're just, it's been about the past 5 years, we're really tapping into that.
Yeah, as somebody who has had many, many paranormal experiences since they were very young, I feel you. Yeah, you kind of realize all of a sudden that there's a door open, almost.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, has this door always been open? Could I always access?
I feel like if you're the same growing up like that, like, it was scary to us because are the adults even going to believe us, And my dad hated anything that was a real ghost because he seen ghosts when he was a baby too, but he was like no to it, and
yeah, I think he was a sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And didn't want to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of reluctance when it comes to that, just because, I mean, when I was, 8 or 9 years old, I was not thinking that I wanted to have communications with ghosts.
Right.
It's not something that I wanted to do. I was 8 and 9 years old. I wanted to hang out with my friends and play Nintendo and be like a quote unquote normal person and not deal with all this other stuff. but it kind of wasn't a choice that I was personally able to make. Like, a lot of people choose to just close that door, and there was just something, I don't know, there was something there that said I shouldn't. So like now the house that I live in has a couple of ghosts that live in it that I interact with on a fairly regular basis. And they just kind of exist with me, you know. If major things happen in my life, if I have a health scare, sometimes they'll come with me to certain places. And kind of the nice thing about that is I never feel alone. Now, I've been tremendously lucky that the spirits that have decided to attach themselves to me are kind spirits and are not out to do me harm, which, you know, I hear from a lot of people that that's entirely a possibility if you let these things in.
Yeah, if you let them in, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, when you open the door, you don't really know what you're letting in per se. You just know that you're opening the door and you're allowing more activity, but you don't know what that activity is going to entail.
Yeah.
Or how that's going to affect you. All right.
It's so funny. Our dad, like, he believes so much because he had so many of those episodes, and he was just, you know, super scared of it. And he was 5 years old, living in a holler in Kentucky, and they didn't even pay attention to the poor little guy. He barely had shoes, so it scared him. So he didn't really push us to, like, they took us to educational stuff. And like, you know, the Gettysburg, they've taken us on old ships and stuff like that. He liked it, but me and Mom and her went at night. Dad would not. If that makes any sense. Like, because I think he's the one we get it from, actually. Yeah. It's just better. People take it better nowadays, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure where I got it from. My great grandmother was a member of the Salvation Army faith. She was a member of the Army of the Righteous. So there was absolutely no talk of ghosts or anything paranormal in her presence or in her house. My grandfather was the same way. He followed in her footsteps. And my other grandmother was Roman Catholic. So there was no, and not only just Roman Catholic, but Irish Roman Catholic. So like, you don't even do things like rock a rocking chair with nobody in it.
Yeah.
Because that's inviting something, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like all this kind of like paranoia entwined with this kind of religious upbringing.
Kind of scary scary for you, because you're like, oh shit, you know, like
there was a lot of that. Yeah. Yeah. There was very much there was a lot of confusion and a lot of fear surrounding it. And eventually, you know, I think you just get to a point where you're like, okay, so this door is here and it's open, and I'm gonna see what's on the other side. You know, like that's it. Yeah. All right. So I kind of read the docket that you guys sent over. And it talks about parapsychology. Now, I've talked with quote unquote people that call themselves ghost hunters. I've also talked to paranormal investigators. Some people get very offended when they get called ghost hunters because it's not a professional name, or what have you. But I think that this is the first time that I'm talking to parapsychologists. So I kind of want to get a feel of how parapsychology differs from just like your run-of-the-mill person out there with a flashlight and a voice recorder.
Well, we have our master's degree in psychology.
Okay. Cool.
So we just decided to branch off of that and see what classes we could take aimed more towards like spirituality and
I guess everybody would call it the darker side, but we're trying to embrace that. And you know exactly what I mean, you know. So yeah. The courses with parapsychology, that also helps with your witchcraft, because they teach you palmistry, astrology, and like you're able to go deep into those. Like what we want to do is help families. Maybe this ghost needs to talk to a family. Maybe this one needs passed over. Maybe something did follow us, but it wants to be taken to a different location.
Yeah, I think ghost hunters want to like find
all the
evidence that it's true and prove to people that it's true, but we want to help
people,
help the ghosts, help spirits, help, you know, people that are hunting the spirits. If they're paranormal
investigators,
you know, help.
That can go how many ways, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you're drawing from a background in psychology, I mean, you know, I don't imagine that the psychology of a human being is much different when they pass over. I would imagine that they're probably dealing with the same shit that they were dealing with when they were alive.
Yep.
And you know, now they have all of this. Oh, and also I'm dead. Great.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Like, how do I deal with this now? Yeah.
Yeah. And we also, with our special powers that we are, I just call it special powers because we can kind of hear, feel, we pull energy. Like her and I together, and sometimes we go with our mom, that three, like we don't usually, we try to go with somebody who's good with the tech stuff, but we use ourselves and dowsing rods, pendulum board, and we just sit there and really concentrate, and we get that energy going. So it's kind of like the ghosts are kind of drawn to it.
But it's really fascinating stuff. You know, a lot of people don't believe that this stuff exists. They think that, you know, we're put here on Earth, and you know, we're able to communicate with one plane of existence, and that's it. You know, full stop.
But that's all some people can handle, you know?
Oh, sure. I mean, you know, I think secretly I wish that I could just handle the one. That would be nice. Sometimes.
Too much to get that feeling. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you know, you have to be concerned about, like, you know, not bringing anything home and trying to, like, center yourself and even yourself out before you have these experiences. And I mean, it's like a whole
process.
It's a whole process. Yeah.
Well, before we start, and then after we end, we try to do an opening and a closing. And everything on a positive realm, just in case there is that little creeper one.
Sure.
Eating in there, you know?
Right. So, I guess, how does your faith influence how you enter into kind of these experiences that you're having? How do you communicate with people on the other side?
I think it helps with it.
Yeah.
Makes it a little easier. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm definitely more the skeptic out of the two of us, and it's been really hard for me to allow myself to open up, and it took, you know, a tragic event happening to us for me to even kind of allow myself to open up to it. And that's one reason why we got started. So I guess, like, we've always done the ghost hunting thing our whole life. We've always thought that was so fun, and
we decided this.
But we thought this is how we're gonna go. This is the way we're gonna go. When our dad got diagnosed with cancer, you know, it was a way for us to distract our minds.
Yeah.
But then also, we lost him, and I have to find him now.
Yeah.
He's got to be there. I felt him when he left us. I felt him, and he wasn't in his body anymore, but he was somewhere, and that he was my man, you know, that was my heart. He was our favorite, one of our favorite people in the whole world. I will search the rest of my life for him.
Yeah. And we've had a little bit of dad come through, and he's, I feel like sometimes he's like, she's skeptical. I know in my heart, you know, I was like that because we had something happen at one of the haunted locations, and dad came through, and I feel like now he knows that everything is okay. And it was like, he was like, because I'm a smoker, I was like, let's go outside and smoke before we do this. We're going to do this for the first time ever.
We were at the Bell Mansion.
Yeah. And dad was like, he was pretty much just telling me, get your ass in there. If you're going to Don't do this no more, but get your ass in there. There ain't nothing afraid
We
of.
were staying there by ourselves at night in the haunted Bell Mansion, which was a former funeral home. So we thought we were alone. There was an actual ghost hunting team there with us that we didn't know.
But it was just a couple veterans up on the
Oh.
left
floors.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But like he's kind of told us, get it going. Even when he was sick, he would be like, nope, you girls are going to do this.
Yeah.
Really, he always has.
Mm-hmm.
He said we can use, and he's got a really badass truck, you know. He always said that we could use it for our shows, or our trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first and foremost, let me say condolences on your loss. I know how hard that is. So when you sensed that your father was there, what kind of gave you the impression that he was?
He knows I need proof. I need it. I need to hear it, feel it, see it, something, you know, tangible for me to believe it.
You felt it.
When he first passed away, that day, I went into the bathroom and I said, Dad, you have to show me something. You have to show me something. I need to know that you are still here with me somehow. And I walked out of the bathroom and the doorbell rang. And I was like, well, who's here now? You know, and I look out the window and no one's there. And I was like, was that you, Dad? And it rang again. And we looked at each other and we're like, what? That was weird. And I was like, okay, if it was you, ring it again. And it rang again. And I was like, all right, you're creeping me out. You can stop now. But at the Bell Mansion, we went in and we went into the basement where they originally kept bodies, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we found this other ghost hunting team. So we were like, hey, can you, let's team up together and do some.
So it's also in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Our dad was in the Air Force. He went to Bear Field to work every single day, cancer or not, an hour there and an hour back. And these veterans that were there as well, I needed to tell you that.
I had no idea they were going to be there. So we team up to ghost hunt and we look into this little crawl space and there was a black snake sticker in there. And it was an old black snake sticker from back when we were kids. I remember the emblem and I'm crying and she's like, this isn't what it is. Like, this can't be. And then the guy that was with their team, he was like, well, I was part of the Black Snakes. And we're like, no, you weren't. You're a liar. And that's not cool. We don't lie about stuff like that.
I was pissed. I was like, are you with me? Because don't be with me. No, I was on my knees.
We have had people do that.
Bawling my eyes out. This emblem, I would go to work with my dad on his drill weekend sometimes. I remember him bringing us those stickers and passing them out to the class because they were badass.
Well, he had the coin, the Black Snake coin
in his pocket.
And he asked who our dad was, and we told him, and he said, I see him every day.
We almost pooped our pants. How about that?
I bet go outside and cry for a while.
Yeah.
And then come back.
It was him.
Wow.
And the veteran guy said, well, I didn't put that sticker either.
He said he hadn't seen one of those stickers in years either.
Creepy. It was a good creepy though.
Yeah, good creepy is nice. Yeah. Huh. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started off as kind of a hardcore skeptic, and I've gradually kind of come to the opinion that there is something, and we don't know really what it is, or how exactly is the best way to communicate with it just yet. But I feel like in the years coming, we'll probably learn a little bit more about it. I mean, people are consistently investigating this stuff, and we're learning more and more every day. So yeah, hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to be like, hey, person who's crossed over, what do you think? What's going on?
Aliens, all that stuff. Technology.
Damn squint.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I always say that it's important to have a healthy level of skepticism. If you go into things in your life that have happened. I mean, even if they're positive things that have nothing to do with the paranormal, if you go in there with a healthy level of skepticism, you're not going to accept everything that everybody's saying just on face value. You have to have a healthy level of skepticism, because if you don't, you're just going to accept everything.
Oh, did you hear? Be like Zach.
Right. You're just going to accept literally everything and anything that anybody says or anybody's experienced, because you're not a skeptic. And it's fine, if you're not a skeptic, but I think, in the back of everybody's mind, there's this little voice that's like, well, maybe there's something there that's not quite, like something happened here that's not quite paranormal, or something happened there that is paranormal, and I just need to kind of dig into that a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, skepticism is important.
I think it's sad that some people just act, they're putting on an act. Like, I really want to know.
Yeah, right.
But nobody wants to watch, like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get anything,
Mm-hmm.
And no one wants to watch 9 shows out of 10 where it's boring and you just don't get anything.
That's why we just do it on.
Right. Yeah. When I had Michelle on, she said, often the recordings for Paranormal State were like 18 hours long, and they would just be sitting there in a dark room for 18 freaking hours. And she's like, maybe something would happen. More often, nothing would happen. And then the producers started saying to her, well, can't you just say, like, you heard this, or you felt this, or you saw that, or, whatever. And she's like, no. Like, I'm not doing this for TV. I'm doing it because I actually am experiencing this, but everybody thought that she was just going to kind of perform and whatever. And she was like, no, I'm not, like, yes, you're paying me to be here, but you're paying me to, like, these people are paying me to do a job. I'm not just going to go and, say whatever you want, or, just so you can have better material.
I don't believe it's good mojo to pretend like that. So
yeah, right. Yeah, no. And I mean, going into a place that is legitimately haunted and has spirits in it, and you're going to go in there and start lying about, what you hear and what you see.
Yeah.
Like, what? It does no good. And it also creates bad energy and, bad juju. Yeah, you don't want that. All right. So, from there, can we kind of talk a little bit about some of the places that you've investigated, and also maybe some kind of holy grail places that you would really love to visit if, money and time allowed?
We've been to Waverly Hills, Indiana State Sanatorium, the Bell Mansion, like we mentioned, Hannah House, any other. There's a ton of places.
Madison Seminary, Fairfield Infirmary in Ohio. That's a big one. Like pretty much every cemetery near us. Like I said, the folks that took one that stuck out for me is when I was in Myrtle Beach with my folks, and we went. She didn't get to go when we went to the USS Yorktown. Yeah.
I personally really want to go to the Axe Murder House.
Ooh, the Vasilla.
Oh, the Villisca Axe Murder House. Yeah.
Like, we've got a huge list. I don't even know.
I feel like everybody has that, like, if you're into the paranormal at all, you have that paranormal hotspot bucket list that, like,
yeah,
you just want to tick them all off,
Yeah, like this coming next Saturday, we're gonna go to Warsaw to the old jail that they
wow.
They quit using it. I mean, not too long ago, but they have it as a museum now, but it's still creepy. And somebody that we know got us in there, so we're just gonna mosey on up to Warsaw and go there.
Nice.
We like to just do random stuff like that too. We have scheduled OSR, Ohio State Reformatory, where Shawshank was filmed. And we're going to be going to the Monroe House.
Yeah, I don't know what's the kind of paranormal hotspot in your neck of the woods. Like, what is your part of the country, I guess, infamous for?
So that's why we usually have to drive. Like, Like we always just have to, like, we are always on the road when we go anywhere because we have to travel. Like
Sure.
I said, Warsaw is a good 25 minutes away from us, and that's a small one.
Okay.
So, like the Monroe House, that's a big one. Everybody's been there. It's in Indiana, but it's still about an hour or so away from us. So, there's quite a few, like even the Hannah House in Indianapolis. That's there's a lot of hot spots around here, but like I said, we can't just walk down the road to it.
Yeah,
You know,
right. Yeah. So, if money was no object and you had the opportunity to go literally anywhere to any paranormal location in the world, where would you go?
I think for me, either Salem, Massachusetts, the Winchester House,
Mm.
Pinhurst, and Trans Allegheny. I know that was four choices. Can't pick. What about you?
I'll go anywhere.
So nowhere across the Great Ocean, you just kind of stick at home.
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to go to Germany, like, and visit trips and stuff like that. I wonder, like, that would be a lot of energy to pick up and carry around.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to go there, but even just seeing it, you can feel that energy. Like when you watch stuff about it. So would it be too scary for somebody who's a sensitive like us to go there? Because I feel like I am already like spirited out thinking about how sad it would be to go there. But we also love the history behind everything, you know, that's why we yeah.
Yeah, I feel like probably, let's see, if money was no object, I'd probably go to see Vlad the Impaler's castle. Really like to go and do a tour of that. I have a tiny little vial of dirt that I got from I forget what it's called. It's like Mini Museum or something. And they have all these little samples of things, and one of them was dirt from that particular location. And I was like, huh, dirt from Dracula's castle, cool.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I think that'd probably be mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
If money was no object.
Yeah, because it's across the pond for sure.
I mean, it's more than a stone's throw, for sure. For sure.
That's weird you mentioned the dirt, because that is one thing that we do. We sometimes get water and dirt from the places we go to. Plus, we play around with things with graveyard dirt and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, because we also sell things, we have oddities and I mean, you name it, we have it. We have human remains of all sorts.
Yeah, I'm an avid oddities collector myself, so I have more than a few creepy things.
I told her you probably had so much stuff going on because I noticed your name is Odd Entities. So
yeah, there's been since 2014, I've been collecting just kind of random items. I also run a literary journal, and sometimes as a thank you, people will send me things.
Yeah.
So I've also gotten some weird shit in the mail. Where I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, this is cool. I don't know that I would have bought it myself, but it was free. Okay, you're welcome, kind of thing. But just weird to get some of that stuff in the mail.
Yeah, we've got a few dolls that are haunted.
Oh, sure.
Last rites kit.
So yeah. So should we take some time to do some shameless self-promotion before we say goodbye?
Sure.
I feel like that would be a good use of our time. It's all you.
So we have a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Wicked Wiccan Sisters. If you look us up on there, we are working on a website where you can buy all of the weird things that we have for sale. And we also sell metaphysical items like your sage sprays and crystals and all that kind of stuff that you may need. And where else are we? Where else can we be found?
You can actually Google us now and it'll come. So, yep. Yeah, we just started a Shopify. So we're working on getting plenty of things loaded up there.
Yeah,
And
we want to try to get it online, like that local items online,
yeah,
so we can do more paranormal work
Yeah.
instead of going. We were vending. We would go to these events and vend, and then afterwards go ghost hunting. That's really hard. It's really hard work because we had a 3-table, if not 5-table booth sometimes.
yeah.
I mean, our stuff.
Yeah, and we have
Ridiculous.
we have a regulars thing too, you know, like our oils and our sprays and our crystals. So we're gonna try to get that put up too, because a lot of people, you know, they're always asking us, how do you order? So we're gonna have regular and creepy and
Nicole and Stacy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me this evening. It was a pleasure, as I anticipated it would be. And I wish you all the best in your paranormal endeavors.
Thank you.
It was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Identity Podcast is brought to you by host Janine Mercer, and the music was created using GarageBand. Find the Odd Pod on Instagram at IdentityPod and on Facebook as The Identity Podcast. A transcript of this episode will be available at theidentitypodcast.wordpress.com. Got a paranormal experience to share? Send those along to theidentitypodcast@gmail.com. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to mash that subscribe button and leave me a 5-star review. And don't forget to tell your friends, family, and coworkers about this podcast. Every little bit helps.